Thomas Tuchel is set to pick his first squad as the New England manager for the upcoming World Cup qualifiers against Albania and Latvia. And today we're going to be taking up the role of the England scouts, advising Thomas Tuchel on the players that he should pick in his first 26-man squad. And Toby, it's been a while since the announcement of his appointment. Are you excited for this new era of English football to finally get underway?
Yeah, normally with the international breaks, I feel like I'm somebody who hates them and doesn't want them as regularly as they are. But I think since that appointment of Tuchel and the excitement around it, I'm actually really looking forward to this upcoming international break, which also has nothing to do with Arsenal's poor form recently either. Feels like a really big appointment, and it feels like the first big appointment for England's manager for a long time. Obviously, Gareth Southgate was pretty successful in that role, but at the time, obviously, it was just an upgrade from the youth coach into the main role. And we had Roy Hodgson and the Sam Allardyce catastrophe before that. And I think since Fabio Capello, I think it was probably announced as England manager as a real big name in European football to take on that mantle of English football manager and really try and manage this amazing talent, which we'll be talking about today, is really exciting. And it's been good for him. I think he's had those first few months without any games to really sort of settle in, watch a lot of games, and hopefully pick a really exciting squad to come.
Yeah, mate, I completely agree with you. I'm so excited about what Tuchel is going to bring to this England job and this players. I will say though, I'm also quite nervous because I think at the end of Gareth Southgate's reign, we were all saying that we need to get over that line. Maybe we need that winner. But if it doesn't work with Tuchel, I don't know where that leaves us after the fact. So I've got everything crossed that this really works out. I think the first thing to talk about, though, before we get to the players, is just what formation and tactics we think he's going to employ. And a lot of people are saying that maybe he might be playing his three at the back that he did Chelsea. At Bayern Munich, he did play for. My personal opinion is I think he'll use the players available to him, and with the plethora of attacking talent we have, he'll go for four at the back. Is that how you see it, or do you see it differently?
Yeah, I agree. I think his history in three back is interesting, but I think even more so now it does feel like three backs are just generally used a lot less as well. And I think, yeah, a 4-3-3 or a 4-2-3-1 are the classic go-to formations, especially with a lot of players playing that in club level and formations that he has used as well at club level. I think it just makes sense for him to go for that.
Yeah, so how we're going to do it is we're going to break it down into goalkeepers, defenders, midfielders. Midfielders and wingers might be quite similar and merge together, and then strikers at the end. And starting off with the goalkeepers, I think the number one, despite the fact that there's a new manager in charge, is probably still going to be Jordan Pickford. Do you have any complaints on that, Toby, at all?
No, he has been a fantastic keeper for England for a number of years now. On the back of another very solid season again with Everton, I think it would be crazy to change it. And there are a good few names I think still in there, and we've got some really good backup goalkeepers, but I still just don't think any are really at the caliber to be challenging Jordan Pickford anytime soon.
Yeah, I think that's quite an easy one and one of the easiest one in the whole squad. If you're talking about the other goalkeepers there, we need a number two and number three. You've obviously got Nick Pope, Aaron Ramsdale, Dean Henderson, Jack Butland, Sam Johnston, got James Trafford. You've got a couple of others in the Championship doing well in terms of Michael Cooper at Sheffield United and Anthony Patterson at Sunderland. Which names out of there do you want to discuss first?
The two names that I would go for out of there that I think are the strongest at the moment were the two names that were in the England squad last time, which was Aaron Ramsdale and Dean Henderson. I think both starting goalkeepers in the Prem, and I think they've both had really good years. Henderson especially, I think, has really stepped up this year for Palace and looks really strong. And I think now with Aaron Ramsdale back as the number one, obviously playing for a Southampton side who are struggling, but he has still performed really well. And for me, I think they would be my two backup options. I do like James Trafford in there as well, and I think it could be good to have him in the squad to get him some experience because he's so young, and there is a really good chance he could be that England goalkeeper maybe in 4 or 5 years' time. He has been fantastic for Burnley this year as well, so potentially could throw him in. But yeah, for me, I think it would be, my goalkeepers would be Pickford, Ramsdale and Henderson at the moment. Who would you go for, Mev?
Yeah, so I completely agree with you, mate. I've also gone for Ramsdale and I've also gone for Henderson. I think it's quite maybe a little bit boring, but I think they are I think Pickford and Henderson definitely number one and two at the moment, especially considering Dean Henderson has played every minute at Crystal Palace so far. The season started all 27 games for them. I think Ramsdale, you can maybe have a bit more debate about if it's him or Nick Pope, but I think Nick Pope is returning after his injury. He's not in great form at the moment, and I also think that when it comes to tournament, maybe you take your third choice goalkeeper to either be an old steady head who's just going to keep the vibes up in the dressing room, or you go for someone younger to give them a bit more experience. But considering this is Tuchel's first England squad, I think let's have a look at arguably the three best goalkeepers in England, and let's see who he prefers, who he likes in training, who gets on well with the squad, and let him have his own preference on who his number one and two might be. And then that third choice, maybe he can have a play around with it a bit later on, especially considering who knows what's going to happen with Aaron Ramsdale next season if he's going to get relegated with Southampton this year, which seems 99% likely if we're being completely honest, and even that 1% maybe a little bit too much. But yeah, I would also go for Pickford. I would also go for Ramsdale. I would also go for Henderson. Do you think that's what he's going to do as well?
I think so. I think for this first England squad, he probably will do that. I think it could be important at this stage with such almost a set and forget number one of Jordan Pickford to have two goalkeepers who are used to being that second and third choice. I think could be quite important for the dressing room, as you said. And with Ramsdale and Henderson being those sort of regular second and third choice goalkeepers, I think they'll be quite happy there. As maybe if you're looking at somebody like Nick Pope or James Trafford, who maybe could have in their back of the head, it's almost their chance to sort of get in and try and be that number one. I think it'd be a sensible pick to stick with the three that we've seen quite regularly.
Okay, so there we have it. Those are our goalkeepers. Let's move on then to the fullbacks, and I don't know. Let's start with right backs. Let's start off with the options available. You got Kyle Walker, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Reece James, Ben White, Aaron Bissaka, Rico Lewis, Tino Livramento, and Jed Spence are the names that I've got written down. Is there anyone else, or is it between those right backs for you as well, Toby?
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good pool to pick from. I think right back is certainly a position where we've got a lot more strength maybe than the other side of fullback, which we'll get onto. And yeah, the one name that surely has got to be in that squad and hopefully is going to be England's first choice right back is going to be your boy Trent.
Well, he might not be my boy for much longer, Tobes. Who knows? But yeah, in terms of when it came to picking the right backs, he was the one that I was like, okay, he starts week in, week out. He is world class. And I think Thomas Tuchel would love to have him in this squad, as so would any other manager. So yeah, I do think with his qualities, he's got to be in there. I think there's an interesting discussion to be had around Kyle Walker. 34 now, will be 36 by the time the World Cup comes around next year. Is he someone that he try and invest in or keep around the squad? Do you think Tuchel's going to pick him?
I'd be really surprised if he does, and I'd also hope that he doesn't, to be honest. I think, like you said, 36 at next year's World Cup. Had a pretty poor start to the season this year. I just think with the other options that are available and Tuchel hopefully thinking a little bit longer term, I really don't think Kyle Walker should be in this squad. And it's a good opportunity now of a new manager maybe to move Kyle Walker on, sort of that player of the England generation of the past, maybe. So yeah, I definitely wouldn't have him in my team.
Okay, well, I'll be honest, I actually agree with you. I think it's time we probably move on. I think it's been a fantastic servant for England. I think in terms of Ben White, I do think that he is going to reconcile with the England management because obviously the old management is no longer there. I think he will make himself eligible. But I think just coming back off his injury, and I'm actually going to put him and Reece James. And I know a lot of people are, positive about Reece James because he's fit now I think he's been available for the last 9 Premier League matches in a row. And the fact that Tuchel worked with him at Chelsea. But I think I'm going to put Ben White and Reece James arguably together in the fact that I think because they're just returning back from the injury, I don't want to take any risk. And I would leave both of them out. Not because of quality, obviously, but just because of injuries. Where did you have Ben White and Reece James?
Again, boring. We need to start disagreeing more, Mev, because we just agree on everything. I've got exactly the same. I've got those two names written down in brackets as players who I think could certainly be in the squad in the future, exactly for the reasons you said, especially with Tuchel working with James previously, but just not for this squad at the moment.
Okay, I'll tell you who I have then. I've taken 3 right backs. I have not taken Aaron Bissaka. I think he's done really well in the last couple of game weeks, but playing with a 3 at the back, playing a right wing back, I'm not sure about him just yet, and I think the players younger than him are arguably maybe better. I think that's harsh to say, but England have a lot of good players. So I've left Aaron Wan-Bissaka at home. I think Rico Lewis is having a bit of an up and down spell at the moment, Man City, as is the whole team, if we're being honest. But in the last 7 Premier League games, he's only started two and come off the bench once. I think it's okay for a player of his age to not be in great form, and I think he can easily, at 20 years old, he can go to the England 21s, get some minutes, get some confidence. I think that'll be fine. So I've taken Trent Alexander-Arnold, Tino Livramento, and Jed Spence as my right backs. I think both Livramento and Spence can cover both right back and left back. Both started regularly for their clubs recently, and I think Jed Spence, we know what we've seen him in left back. I saw him in that game against Man United. I think he offers something that no other right back can, and so those are my three right backs. Who are yours?
Okay, nice. That's interesting. I do really like the shout of Livramento, and he was very close to getting in mine, but I think it was actually almost difficult to decide which position he would actually play because he is so good on both sides and so consistent. I have gone for Trent and Rico Lewis. I think with Rico Lewis, I agree, maybe not being in the best form, but I think a player of his age and his talent, it could be really important to get him into the England squad quite early because I think he's going to be such an important player for England coming. I think he's one of the most technically gifted players that we have in our squad and at such a young age. And I'd really, really like to see him in the squad and be someone who's going to be in every squad and get him playing as much as possible, as difficult as that could be with Trent playing right back as well. So I've got actually only gone for the two right backs, but I have still got what could be a third right back in Jed Spence under my left back category, and I definitely agree that he should be in that England squad. I think he's been performing fantastically well from left back for Spurs and somebody who could cover both positions really well.
I tell you what, mate. Yeah, I agree with Rico Lewis because I think maybe I've been a bit harsh on him because he's so young and I'm maybe expecting too much. But I think you're right. He is a phenomenal talent. And I think he's a better talent than Livramento and Spence. That might come back to bite me, but I will say that quite confidently. So I do you know what? I am actually happy to take Rico Lewis. I will say though, I I worry about Spence because now in the last 2 Premier League games, now that Porro and Edozie are both back and fit against Ipswich and Manchester City, he was dropped to the bench. And I worry about his minutes long term, which is why I now think that he needs to be picked now because of the fact that if you don't pick him now, you might not get a chance to later. And I think that Livramento is always going to be starting week in, week out for Newcastle. Oh, it's harsh. It's a tough one.
Yeah, it's a real toss-up because especially with Newcastle at the moment, it's still Trippier is still there but aging, and another exceptional fullback at Newcastle, which I think you may have in your squad as well, in Lewis Hall. I think I thought it was a lot easier actually picking these fullbacks, but yeah, I've got Lewis Hall as my other left back as well. So in my squad, I've got four fullbacks in Hall, Spence, Trent, and Lewis. Have you got Hall as well? I imagine you do.
Yeah. Hall is, I think, England's future at left back, definitely between now and the World Cup. I think he's going to be the starting one. I didn't have any other out and out left back. I thought Tyrick Mitchell consistent, but not, I think similar to Wan-Bissaka. I'm not like he's one of the best players in the team. Ripping it up is what I want. I want to be talking about Mitchell the same way I'd maybe talk about on the other side in Daniel Munoz. I think Chilwell not enough minutes. Leif Davies he's going to be going down to the Championship, and I thought a lot of Alfie Doughty when he came up with Luton, but I think Davies might end up the same way as him back in the Championship. The only so I think Trent goes, Lewis Hall definitely goes. Rico Lewis is going. I think it's between Livramento, Spence, and for me, Miles Lewis Skelly. We've got to take one of those three. Four. No, three.
Yeah, I like the Lewis Skelly shout as an Arsenal fan. I think he's been really, really good. I think it might be a little bit early for him though. I think not just yet, and especially with Arsenal at the moment, there's not a guarantee that he's also going to be starting at left back. I think with Ben White coming back and Timber potentially pushing to left back, Calafiori still in the team as well, I think Lewis Skelly might be a wait and hold. I'd be happy with either Spence or Livramento as that sort of second left back who can also cover right back. So I'm happy to pass that decision on to you, mate, and go who you think deserves it at the moment and maybe could be that strongest player.
Okay, so I'll agree with you that Miles Lewis Skelly may be too early. I wanted your opinion on it since you are the Arsenal fan and watching more than me. That's fair enough. So Trent, Rico Lewis, Lewis Hall, and Is there a world where we can take Livramento and Spence and Tuchel maybe tries Trent and Rico Lewis in midfield?
Definitely, yeah, it's definitely an option. Um,
Would you want 5 fullbacks or 5 centre-backs?
should we put them as a slash and maybe go on to the centre backs and see who we've got in there, and maybe in the midfield as well? Because even then,
Okay.
yeah, 4 fullbacks could be enough.
Okay, so for now we're taking Trent, Lewis, and Hall, and we'll come back to the rest. Okay, centre backs. Some more names for you. So we've got John Stones is not going to be fit, so he's out. Otherwise, I think he'd be in the England squad quite comfortably. You've then got Mark Gay, Ezri Konza, Harry Maguire's 50-50 on fitness. You've got Taylor Harwood Bellis, you've got Fikayo Tomori, Jared Branthwaite, Levi Colwill, Trevor Chalobah, Tosin Adarabioyo, Max Gilman, and I threw in Eric Dyer just because Thomas Tuchel signed him at Bayern Munich. What names are you certain of?
I would, to be honest, I feel quite certain on all 4 of the main centre backs that I've picked. The most certain, I think, has got to be Mark Gahey. Again, performing really well. Palace was really, really good for England at the Euros. Really stepped up when there were a lot of question marks over him playing in that left centre back role. Seemed almost thrown into it, and he excelled. He was one of the players of the tournament for England for me. He is, for me, 100% the first player on that defensive team sheet.
Yeah, I completely agree. I thought he's phenomenal. He's got 1 year left on his contract. When the summer comes, he's definitely going to be on the move to a bigger club. No offense, Crystal Palace. And I think he's going to be a star for England in the future. I also had Ezri Konsa because the one game he came in against Switzerland, I think it was, at the Euros, he did really, really well. He can also cover it right back if needed. I think for me, Ezri Konsa also has to go. Is that the same for you?
Yep, 100% agree. He was one of the first on there. Like you said, I wouldn't say surprised me for England, but I think he showed a real level of maturity when he came into that England side as somebody with not too much experience. A player who maybe hasn't performed as well for England or even for club potentially this year, but I still would want them in my team for similar reasons to consider that he could also cover the fullback position. But on the other side is Levi Colwill. I've got him in my squad. Maybe I really, really like him, and I think on his day he's one of England's best centre-backs, but at times he does throw up a few question marks for me, but I'd still definitely have him in my team.
Yeah, I agree with you as well. I've also got Levi Colwill. I think that in the future, he's got the potential to be England's best centre defender. I don't think he is that at the moment. I think for me, he is behind Stones, Gay, potentially even Konza as well. But I would also take Levi Colwill. And my fourth centre back was another left footer. I went for Jared Branthwaite. I think he's got a huge future ahead of him. I think that with the upturn in Everton's form as of late, with David Moyes coming in, I think you've seen his passing improve. I still want to see more from his passing. I think that I want to see him breaking the lines. I wanted to see him get the ball out of his feet with his first touch a bit quicker and move it on. I think he's got a fantastic diag. And I think he's a really good defender as well. You have to be playing in that Everton side and under David Moyes and Sean Dyche. So my fourth one was Jared Branthwaite. Who did you have?
Yeah, exactly the same, mate. And for all the same reasons, he is absolutely fantastic. Really, really shines. I think we can see how good of a defender he is in that Everton side. And like you say, now under Moyes, I think we'll see him be a little bit more progressive. And for me, if he was in one of the top 6 clubs, he would be renowned as one of the best centre-backs in the league for sure. He really has got that talent. And similar to what I said about Lewis, I think it's good if we get him in the squad and get him playing young, get him in that setup as one of those players who's going to be around for the next 10 years. So yeah, all 4 centre-backs from there for me are 100% in the squad.
So if that was nice and easy, we got 4 centre backs. Should we take an extra fullback as well then, just so we can have a play around then?
I don't know if I've gone really midfield or attack heavy, but in my initial draft, I actually only had 4 fullbacks and 4 centre backs. So
I was the same. Okay, maybe we should do we'll leave it at that. We'll take those 8 defenders plus his 3 goalkeepers, and we'll see how much space we have afterwards. Should we do that? Because like I said to you, I have got a hell of a lot of midfield names, and I'm actually not even going to read them all out because there's actually too many names. I will just ask you, do you think it's going to be a double pivot, or do you think it's going to be 1 sitting and 2 more advanced?
It's so difficult with international football to really know, and it does feel like it's more common to see a double pivot just for that cover, that control. It's a lot less free-flowing in international football. I think, given on the options, it probably should be 1-6 in there, and that 1-6 should be Declan Rice. I'm not sure at the moment if there's really somebody who naturally slots in next to him as a double pivot. So yeah, Declan Rice has got to be in the squad, hasn't he? At least, but I'm not sure about the midfield options around him as much.
Yeah, so I wrote Declan Rice in. I penciled him in before we even started recording. I knew he was going to be in there. I think that was pretty obvious. I think that there is a natural double pivot partner for him. Someone who is in great form at the moment for his club, playing for a side who are top of the league. And I think Curtis Jones, next to Declan Rice, can pick up the ball, advance it, and I think he'd be the perfect partner. And if you're looking for a midfield three that can do everything, Declan Rice, Curtis Jones, and Jude Bellingham, I think that at the moment that could be England's best midfield three. Um, I'm gonna cross off Jude Bellingham. I think he's obviously going. I'm gonna pencil him in. Do you want to talk to me about Curtis Jones? What do you think of him so far?
I think he is an absolutely fantastic talent. I really, really like Curtis Jones, and I really like watching him play. He's one of those players that he has like so much intent on the pitch. It feels like every touch and every pass he makes has real intent behind it. It's never too much, or it's never just flicking the ball on. He always knows exactly, I think, the right thing to do. I always wonder with Curtis Jones what his best position actually is, because sometimes it feels like he's got really good press on him, and he can play as that number 10 supporting the striker, but he's not really built like a number 10. It feels like he's more naturally sort of an 8. So would you play him as a double pivot, or would you play him with Declan Rice as a 6 and maybe Jude and Jones sort of a little bit deeper? Or in your mind, is it Rice and Jones and then Jude sort of that number 10 ahead of them?
Yeah, so I think the way he's played for Liverpool, I think if you think about instead of Ryan Gravenberch, it's Declan Rice, and arguably that's an upgrade. And if you think about where Alexis McAllister plays, that's Curtis Jones. Obviously the backup to McAllister, but he's also the backup to Szoboszlai in the number 10 position. But I think, as we'll talk about in a bit, there's so many options in number 10 position. He can do that 8 or 6 role quite well. So for me, it could be a double pivot of Declan Rice and Curtis Jones, just because I think there's obviously the destroyer in your midfield, and then I'm worried that it's going to be just Declan Rice, and then everyone else is going to be forward. And I think you just need someone in between. So if we're moving the conversation on, do you have Curtis Jones even in your England squad?
Yeah, he was one of the first names I wrote for the midfield. I really, really like him, and he's definitely in there. Rice, Jones, and Jude were all straight in that team for me. Who did you have as maybe like other options around that sort of either a sort of number 6 or a number 8, the less attacking midfielders?
Yes. So I have. There's two other names, and yeah, they're both going in my team, and that is one of them from Atletico Madrid, Conor Gallagher, and the other one from Nottingham Forest. I've gone Elliot Anderson as well. I think, again, difficult because I don't think either of them are really sixes, but I think if we're playing a double pivot, then two players can kind of do that role and they can both help each other out. And I don't think you need one specific destroyer a la a Rodri. So I think if you go for a double pivot, you can play a lot of these players who could do a bit of everything. And that way it doesn't take away from the whole balance. So yeah, I've got as my more defensive minded midfielders Rice, Curtis Jones, Conor Gallagher, and Elliot Anderson. What are your thoughts on that?
Nice, yeah. I've also got Gallagher in my side. I definitely think he should be in the squad because I think he's a fantastic player to bring on when you're winning. He's somebody who you can bring on. I think even bring on as like a left mid. I think would really, really suit him. Somebody who can help cover the fullback. Fantastic energy, really great presser, and somebody who I think could be an important asset that brings something quite different to a lot of the other midfielders in the side. So I've definitely got Gallagher. I had Anderson just on the fringe. I wasn't sure of him because he is a fantastic, fantastic talent. But I worried with Anderson that he is more in the mould of sort of your Curtis Jones or potentially even sort of Jude Bellingham, obviously slightly less attacking. So I actually went for Adam Wharton as my other midfield player in there. Somebody a lot more similar to Declan Rice that is going to naturally sit a little bit more. Again, he hasn't had an amazing season. He was injured obviously as well. So I I do like Anderson. He was on the fringe of my squad, and like you say, I think if it is going to be a double pivot, which, as I said, for international, I think is more likely, could certainly go in there. It's a toss up because I think Wharton was almost. It felt like when he had that fantastic spell at Palace, it was like, oh, he is going to be in that England squad for years, and now a few more question marks, and it's not too sure.
Well, I will say though, I think obviously he's had his groin injury. He's been out for a large part of the season, but he's come back and he took maybe a game or two, but I think he's now found his form and I think he's back to being as great as he was prior to his injury. But it's just going to take him a bit of time to put together a few games where he's fit and show everyone that he is back to that level. I tell you what, if Curtis Jones, Conor Gallagher, Declan Rice, and Jude Bellingham were definitely on the team sheet, should we then go to the more attacker-minded midfielders?
Yeah, and we can always come back we've got with Spence and Livramento. We can throw the toss-ups up until the end. Yeah, this was a difficult position. I think number 10 for maybe when you've picked your first few players. I think picking maybe a few more gets pretty tough.
Yeah, so God, I don't know. There's so many. If I just name a few here, obviously Jude Bellingham, who we've already said that we're taking. You then got Cole Palmer, Phil Foden, Eberechi Eze, Morgan Rogers, Morgan Gibbs-White. You could play Jack Grealish there as well. I've gone first on the last few occasions. Do you want to talk me through how you came about getting the players that you decided to pick?
Yeah, it's really difficult. The two players that I think were straight in my team that are definitely number 10s, but I think also can play on either side of the wing, which I think is important to have as well, were Cole Palmer and Morgan Rogers. Two fantastic players, come up through the Man City Academy, having fantastic seasons, really, really, really good technically, really good physically. For me, very easy picks and both deserve to be in that squad 100%. So yeah, they were my first two, without even thinking, were already on the squad.
Okay. Yeah, so you got Jude Bellingham in the 10. I had Cole Palmer and Phil Foden on the right-hand side because of the fact that Bukayo Saka isn't fit. So I also had Morgan Rogers in my side behind Bellingham, but I was unsure about Morgan Gibbs-White depending on who we took, because I think for me, I think I would have rather taken Elliot Anderson, considering the fact that how much attacking talent we do have. He's not, like I said, the number 6, but he does more of it than the Morgan Gibbs-White, even though I think Morgan Gibbs-White could do, but he's phenomenal. It's tough. There's so many quality players. Okay, let's try and... We've got 11 from goalkeepers and defenders. Declan Rice is 12, Conor Gallagher is 13, Curtis Jones is 14, Jude Bellingham is 15. We've already got 4 midfielders. I don't know. Help me out here. I think I'm just waffling.
So that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 11. Was probably going to be 16, likely if we're going for one of Wharton and Anderson. So that gives us still 10 positions left, 10 players left. I think, like you said, if we're throwing it, yeah, I think we've still got a lot of width that we can go for here. I think, like we said, Palmer, Rogers, Foden are all... They've got to be in the squad, really. I know Foden hasn't been the best performer for England, but on his day, one of the best players in the country for sure. If we make this category, maybe we make it 10s and wingers. Another 2 players, I think for me, that have got to be in that squad are Anthony Gordon and Jared Bowen. I think probably what feels like the only 2 true wingers who have at least some sort of experience in that England squad and that are in good form as well. So yeah, those 2 would be pretty nailed on for me.
Yeah, do you know what? I had them actually in my squad as well. I think Anthony Gordon 9 goals and 6 assists in all competitions this season, and after his red card against Brighton in the FA Cup, he'll be fresh and ready for England duty as well. I think Jared Bowen, 7 goals, 4 assists for what's been a poor West Ham side this season. I think their performances have improved as of late, and now finally the last couple of games their results are as well. So yeah, I would also 100% have Anthony Gordon and Jared Bowen. Um, so that would make 9. Okay, the thing is though, with no Saka, and I think in the squad there are so many players who want to play number 10. Jared Bowen, undoubtedly a right winger. Anthony Gordon, undoubtedly a left winger. Who would be your other guaranteed wingers in that squad? Because obviously, like I said, Palmer can play there, Foden can play there, Rodgers can play on the left hand side. Are there any others that you have are out and out wingers? I've got names here. I mean, I'm not sure I like too many of them, but Jadon Sancho, Marcus Rashford, Jamie Gittins, Noni Madueke, Callum Hudson-Odoi, Harvey Barnes, Marcus Tavernier. Do you like the sound of any of them? And did you have any of them in your squad?
I don't have any of them in my squad. The two that I like the most are Gittins. I think is a really, really good talent, and he could definitely be in that England squad. And maybe if he was doing what he was doing at Dortmund, but in the Prem, there'd be a few more eyeballs on him, and he could really be in that squad. And Rashford, I don't think Rashford should be in the squad yet, but I think this loan spell at Villa could maybe be a turning point for Marcus Rashford, and we could see him back at his best soon. But I don't think just yet. I think he still hasn't played enough football over the last year or so to warrant being in this side. Madueke's maybe another one who could be in there, but I think there's players with better quality who, yes, maybe are more natural 10s, but could still play on the wing and perform better. And one of those for me is Eberechi Eze. I think he's really, really versatile, and I think he could very easily play as a left winger and really, really perform there for England. So yeah, he would be ahead of those other names for me, Eze.
Did I not mention Eze in the number 10s? Is that my fault? Did I not mention him?
No, you did mention him. You did mention him in the 10s, but yeah, I've got him listed as a left winger in this squad just because, like you said, there's so many 10s floating around.
Okay, yeah, thank God. I was worried I missed him, and I was like, oh my God, the comments might kill me if I do that. But okay, yeah, no, he is in the squad for me as well. I will. I don't think left wing is his best position. I think he's done all right there for England. I think partly because of how few options we've had at left wing, plus the fact that when we have played players there, they've been playing out of position. So when he's come on at left wing, he looks incredible in comparison. But I don't think that's his best position. But I do agree for this England squad that, for the left wing, it's probably got to be him. I would prefer like an out and out winger, but I think you have to go with what you've got. And I would agree that Gordon and Eze are definitely on the left wing for me. Are we saying then that on the right wing that it's going to be Palmer, Foden and Bowen, and we're going to take 3 but 2 who can also play elsewhere, and that's it?
Yeah, so I've got those 6 names: Palmer, Rodgers, Gordon, Eze, Bowen, Foden, and that leaves one potential name there because I've got 3 strikers. How many strikers have you gone for?
Okay, we're talking through it. We're not getting any certainties down. I have also gone for 3 strikers. Obviously Harry Kane, 28 goals and 8 assists in all competitions this season.
Yep.
Second, I've gone for Ollie Watkins, 13 goals and 10 assists in all competitions this season. And I think with John Duran leaving as well, he's likely to, know the fact that he's starting week in, week out, and that'll improve his performances. And with Dominic Solanke's fitness being 50-50, I probably would have gone for him, but instead I've gone for Liam Delap with 10 goals and 2 assists this season. I think that in the future, he is going to be playing in the Premier League. I don't think he'll be going down with Ipswich Town, which is what we expect this season. So I think, yeah, if Solanke's not fit, go for Liam Delap. Who have you got?
Exactly the same. Again, mate, we're just too much on the same wavelength. It's getting boring. Yeah, I think, like you've said exactly what I would have said. The 3 best names at the moment. I think Solanke would be in there, but again, with fitness, probably misses out on this squad. Another name I had potentially on the fringe and a little bit of a rogue shout was Danny Welbeck. I think he's very different to a few of these players in there. He's got a lot of experience. He's been performing really, really well for Brighton this season especially. Could help bring in sort of that attacking talent that I think maybe England struggled with a little time and sort of getting maybe the best out of Bellingham, the best out of Foden. I think somebody like Welbeck really brings that, whereas Kane and Watkins are maybe more focal point goal scorers themselves. Will he get in the squad? I'd be very, very, very surprised. But for me, probably fourth choice striker at the moment in that England side, given injuries and whatnot.
Yeah, I agree. I think in terms of going forward, I think we've got a lot of options in the striking department. I'm not as worried about England's future without Harry Kane as I probably was prior to the Euros. I think now that in terms of Ollie Watkins, yes, he's a different type of striker, but I think if you play to strength, I think he's quality. And I also think with Solanke and Delap, I think we've got some really good options there. So we should get some names down, and we need to be certain about this, okay? So maybe if we work backwards from the top, because we seem to agree on something. So we've got our three forwards and only three of Kane, Watkins, and Delap. Is that right?
Yep, locked in.
Okay. In terms of left wingers, I think we were pretty certain as well in terms of Anthony Gordon and Eberechi Eze.
Yep, that's two left wingers. I think that's good there.
Yeah. We had, in this squad at least, three right wingers of Cole Palmer, Phil Foden, and Jared Bowen.
Yep.
Okay. Definite number 10s in Jude Bellingham and Morgan Rogers.
Yep.
We didn't even mention James Maddison, did we?
Well, that's what I was just about to mention him. I have him in my squad at the moment. I have Maddison as that one of those missing players at the moment because we still do have one player left to pick. I had him just ahead of Morgan Gibbs-White because I think he's a slightly different player and maybe fits more into the attacking side of this England squad. So actually, yeah, I did have Maddison in my team.
Mate, you can't try and say like, oh, do you know what? I want Morgan Gibbs-White over Elliot Anderson, and then say, oh, actually, but I had James Maddison ahead of both of them. Ugh, what are you like?
I never said I wanted Gibbs-White over Anderson.
Did you not? Did you not? Oh, okay. I thought.
No. I'd Gibbs-White was my very, very unlucky to miss out behind James Maddison for me.
Okay. So you've got James Maddison in your squad. See, you can take James Maddison, and I think he is a very good player, and I think he's actually picking the ball up a lot deeper than people think he is. In the attacking sense, in the defending sense, I think he's still defending as if he's a number 10. It's tough because I actually think 26-man squad is actually too big. They've got so many players here who are just never going to get a game. I mean, it seems to me like there's no point of having a 26-man squad, honestly. Well, especially for England, you've got this many quality players. But if our number 10s are... Is James Maddison ahead of Morgan Rogers for you? Because I think Rogers is ahead of Maddison for me.
No, yeah, Rogers is definitely in my squad. Yeah.
Okay. Well, in that case,
we could just not have Maddison or Gibbs-White and take both Wharton. I think at the moment, I think our options are actually, it's between, we've got one space left. No, we've got two spaces left, sorry. We've got Wharton, Anderson, Maddison, and Gibbs-White, and we've got to pick two of those.
So you're saying with the lack of pure number 6s, take a bunch of number 8s and take both Wharton and Anderson?
What, and just scrap off Maddison and Gibbs-White?
God, there's no winning if you're Thomas Tuchel, is there? I can already see his England squad coming out on Twitter and Twitter ripping it up.
It's a tough one because we have got Foden. We have still got Foden and Palmer as well who can play 10. So maybe we don't need another 10. Should we go for that? Should we go for Anderson and Wharton?
Yeah, and then you also think about Eze, who could play in the number 10 position as well. That's arguably his favourite
position. Yeah.
It's a good shout. Think I prefer that, of just take the number 10s.
I like that.
So right wingers, Bowen, Palmer, Foden, number 10s of Bellingham and Morgan Rogers, and the more defensive-minded midfielders of Rice, Gallagher, Curtis Jones, Elliot Anderson, and Adam Wharton, 5.
Yep, I like that. I think that sounds pretty balanced.
Okay, and then... So that makes 15 midfielders, wingers, and attackers. That means we got 11 for the rest. 3 goalkeepers of Pickford, Henderson, and Ramsdale is 18. So then it would just
Yep.
the other 8. And did we? And we decided the four
We've got
centre backs. Lewis Hall at left back, Trent at right back,
Yep.
Rika Lewis at right back. And did we decide on Livramento or Spence?
We didn't. No, we have not decided that. That's our last decision to make, and then our squad is fully locked in. I would push for Spence. Like you said, just because I think this might be his last chance to get into an England squad. And like you said, it's a 26-man squad. Realistically, neither of them are probably going to play anyway. And Livramento, I think, has more opportunity to get in the future. So I would push for Spence, even if it's just for just to be nice.
Oh, yeah, it's such a tough one because he deserves it based on performances. But his performances have been highlighted to me because of the fact that he's only, in the last few months got into the Spurs side after not being favoured, and he's done really well. It kind of feels, I feel really bad for punishing Livramento for the fact that he's been consistent. He's been in the England squad previously. He's there week in, week out, right back or left back. Spence is now already back out of the Spurs starting 11. Oh, do you know what? Let's go with Spence. Yeah, I feel so bad. And I think Livramento will probably be in that. I say probably, actually. I have no idea. And that's as I think.
I think Livramento is more likely to be in the squads in the future, 100%. I agree with you on that.
Yeah, but I was just thinking of will he even make the squad now? Because I think that's what's so exciting is the fact that, like when Lee Carsley replaced Southgate just on the interim basis, we had no idea who's going to be in that squad. I mean, we haven't even talked about Angel Gomez in the squad at all. I mean, do you think he's a player who could make it?
Yeah. Realistically, probably not. I'd be very surprised. I think he has a good relationship with Lee Carsley from the youth squad, and I think maybe that's why he was more picked. Not that he's not a great player; he is good. I just think like we in our squad we're not taking Maddison or Gibbs White, and I think Gomez is going to be picked behind them as well.
Well, yeah. Well, there's our 26-man squad finalized just about. I'll put a graphic up because I'm not sure I could recite it without stumbling again. And let us know what you think in the comments below. Yeah, that was a lot of fun, and I'm really looking forward to watching these England games under Thomas Tuchel. But for now, we should move on, and we should
Away from agreeing on most things, and we can get to some real competitiveness back with the quiz. Squad guesser. 4 rounds played so far. Mev is on 28 points and I'm on 32, so a slender 4-point lead where it can change. So, I won't explain the rules. You'll see how it goes as we get along, and if not, just watch one of the earlier episodes where we explained it. So, Mev, would you like to go first or second?
Well, it's been a couple of weeks since we recorded, mate, and I am itching to go, so I would actually like to guess first, if that's okay.
Okay, yeah, that sounds good to me, mate. So, this team, from a random point in history, a big game, is playing a 4-1-4-1. And I'm going to spin the wheel and get you your first player, which is number 5, which is your left back, who is English.
An English left back could be from any time in history. Well, I think it'll be in our lifetime. So I'm thinking that could be Ashley Cole, Ben Chilwell, Luke Shaw, Ashley Young, Danny Rose. There's a few, but I'm gonna ask to spin again, please.
Yeah, a sensible pick with a few names floating around out there. And your next player is number 2, which is the other fullback on the right-hand side, and they are from the Ivory Coast.
So the first player that came to mind was Serge Aurier, and that would make sense with the English left back being Danny Rose. So I'm maybe thinking along the lines of Spurs, but I'm not certain. So I'd like to spin again, please.
Certainly. Let's get spinning. And you have got number 11, which is your left midfielder, and they are from Sweden.
A Swedish left winger. Sorry, mate, I've already forgotten. What formation did you say this was?
So it's a 4-1-4-1. When I looked
Okay.
up the squad, it did kind of say it was a 4-4-2, and this left mid, it said was playing as a second striker, which it was most likely possible, and then the left centre mid was the left mid. But this player is really, really known as a left mid, so I tweaked it a little bit just to not completely send you down the garden path.
Okay. So even though you've told me the left wing is Swedish, you've actually just confused me even more. So I think I'd like to spin again, please.
It's the Swedish left mid in a 4-1-4-1.
Okay.
But yeah.
Yeah, spin again, please.
So you've got number 9 now. French striker.
French striker. Um. Oh, jeez. Club football. French striker. Swedish left winger. Ivory Coast right back. English left back. Oh God. Okay. I'm lost. Can I spin again, please?
Yeah, let's go for one more. I reckon if you ignore the Ivorian right back for now, I think you could get it. And I think you could get it with this one. It's number 6. It's that solo DM, and they are from Brazil.
Brazilian defensive midfielder. Get it with this one. Club football. English left back. Brazilian. Who the hell is this? I mean, Swedish left winger. The only one who comes to mind, and I know he plays on the right wing instead, is Anthony Langer. I can't think of any other Swedish wingers.
He's
Oh,
definitely a left midfielder as opposed to a left wing, if that gives you any hint of maybe the time of this team as well.
no. I'm going to ask you to spin again, please, mate.
Yeah, let's go for another spin. Number 4 is one of your centre backs is English.
Is it right or left?
I think it's left.
Okay.
But I'm not sure.
Left. English left back. English centre back. With a Swedish.
I think if you think of that English left back as well, you may have said their name already.
I think I said all the good ones in the last few years. So I said Cole, I said Shaw, I said Rose, I said Chilwell. Can I spin again, please?
Yep, let's spin again. And you've got number 1, which is a German goalkeeper.
I don't know. Can I spin again?
Yep, we'll keep spinning. Number 3, which is your last defender, your other centre-back, is Ivorian as well.
Right. Come on. 2 Ivorians and Englishmen. And 2 Englishmen. Swedish.
If you think of Ivorian centre-back,
I mean, the only
it's
one
probably going to be the one you're
I
thinking
can think of is Colo Torre, which will make the left back Ashley Cole. Is it the Arsenal side who went invincible?
I'm going to ask you to tweak. It's not the Arsenal side that went invincible.
Okay.
It is from a specific game of that era, though.
Okay.
So
Fair
if you can
enough.
get the game now, I'll give you the points as you are.
Is it the one that won the cup final in that season that you went invincible in 03-04?
It is not, unfortunately. Yeah, so that is a guess gone.
Okay.
Do you want to
Yes.
spin again, or do you want to guess again? Do you want to guess again?
Spin again. Spin again.
Okay, so number 10, one of your centre mids is from Belarus.
Okay, come on, Nev.
Might
You
be
didn't
slightly
say-
later than
You didn't
Invincibles.
say season. You said era, and I don't care about Arsenal. I care about Arsenal now, but not back then. Is it the one that beat Real Madrid in the Champions League?
No, it's not that game,
I'm just
unfortunately.
trying to think of iconic games I don't know. Okay.
It's the right competition. And it's the right team.
Oh, for God.
Just
okay.
need the game.
Okay. I'm not going to spin again because I know which team it is. So that's my last guess then. Is it the Arsenal side that I can't remember what season, but lost in the Champions League to Liverpool across 2 legs in the Champions League semi-final?
Oh, man. I thought you had it there when you said it's the Arsenal side that lost. It was the Arsenal side that lost the Champions League final in 2006.
Oh, you made the final.
So close. Yeah, we lost to Barcelona.
Of course you did. Sorry,
Jens Lehmann got sent off in 20 minutes. Sol Campbell scored. And then we bottled it again in the last 20 minutes. Barca went and scored 2. So, yeah, it was...
that sounds like
Jens
you, doesn't
Lehmann. Yeah, Lenzi Eamon, Abue, Kolo Toure, Sol Campbell, Ashley Cole, Gilberto Silva, Pires and Fabregas weren't mentioned. And then it was Alexander Hleb, Freddie Ljungberg and Thierry Henry up front. So, unfortunately, like Arsenal, Mev, you won't be getting anything from this game.
Why did you say this season? Yeah, I just completely forgot you made the final. Yeah, fair enough. Okay, you ready for yours?
I certainly am. Let's hop straight into it.
Okay, this is club football. The formation is a 3-4-3.
Okay.
And your first player is the right central midfielder who is Italian.
Ooh, okay. Right central midfielder who's Italian. I'm already thinking like this could be Chelsea and this could be Jorginho. I'm pretty sure they played a 3-back when they won the Champions League in 2019, was it? When they beat City? Do I just go for a cocky 11-point guess? Yeah, fuck it. Let's go for Chelsea. Chelsea beating Man City in the Champions League final.
Not quite.
Damn. Okay.
So
let's spin again then, please.
Yes. So your next player is the centre forward, who is French.
French. Oh, I should have spun again, and I would have known it wouldn't have been Chelsea. So, French striker in a 3-4-3. Trying to think who could this be. Mbappe, Griezmann. I feel like neither of them particularly played. With a 3-back. Benzema again. Not going to be the same. Yeah, let's spin again, please.
Okay. Your next player is the left wing back who's English.
English left wing back. Okay, so he's going to be an English side. English left wing back with an Italian midfielder. Surely this has got to be Chelsea in some sense, isn't it? Olivier Giroud up front, Jorginho midfield, Chilwell left wing back. Could it be the Chelsea side that beat Arsenal in the Europa League? Could it be a Chelsea side that lost an FA Cup final game? It's got to be Chelsea. It's got to be Chelsea. But I'm going to spin again, please, Mev.
Okay. Your next player is a goalkeeper who's Senegalese.
Okay, this is 100% Chelsea. Edouard Mendy. I swear he was only there for that Champions League game. If it's like the Champions League semi-final, Mev, and the starting 11's like the same, I'm going to be kicking off. Why do I think he wasn't there for that Europa League game where they beat us? But I'm pretty sure Giroud played in that because they did win it. Let's go for it. Let's go for the Chelsea Europa League win over Arsenal, please.
That is 2 lives gone. Only one more life left. I will let you know. You're right, you are going to hate me. It is an obscure game.
Oh, come on. That's
hey,
not
Arsenal
on. Let's
getting the
spin
Champions
again
League final was an obscure game.
Spin again.
Yeah, yeah. So your left centre back is German.
So that's going to be Rudiger. So I know that it's going to be. It's just going to
Oh,
be one
what
of these.
game?
Hmm.
Okay,
It could be
it's
two. It could be
it's not
Tuchel's
quite.
first or last game.
Okay,
Is what I'm thinking. Because the episode was obviously Tuchel's first England squad as well. The way you stopped giving a clue there, I think it's going to be one of those as well. Which one?
I hate the Discord delay. Honestly,
Oh, I don't know if it'd be his first or his last.
you could keep spinning. Maybe that'd help you.
Let's just go for another spin, but I don't think it's going to help at this point. Yeah, let's spin.
So your next player is a right wing back who is English.
So that's just going to be Reece James. Yeah, this is. I can't pinpoint. I suppose Tuchel he wasn't there long enough. With Giroud up front, it feels more likely it's going to be his first. No, because he went and won the Champions League really quickly, didn't he? He was not there long when he won the Champions League. Or could it be that game where he shook hands with Conte? That's the one game I'm thinking of as well.
Oh, mate, I've just spun ahead in case you were to guess again, and I think you maybe should take it.
I don't think it's going to help me. I really don't think it is. Because I don't know. I can't think of any of the signings that Tuchel may have made or players he got rid of either.
I don't know.
But let's go for it. Let's take it and just see what it is. Yeah, we'll go for that. What is
Okay,
it?
your right winger / attacking midfielder is Moroccan.
So that's obviously Ziyech. Again, that just doesn't really help. Let's go for Tuchel's first game for Chelsea.
He's done it. Well done, Toby.
Oh, thank God for that. That is a very cheeky one to go for, Mev, but I like it.
Toby, based on this quiz alone, it is evident to everyone that you're a lot better at this than I am. So therefore, I obviously have to make it a bit harder for you just to keep it interesting.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Yeah, that was tough. There's just so many like games around that point for Chelsea where they actually had some big games. So I'll take that was how many? 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5 points. Which I'll certainly take for that because that was a tough one.
And tell you what, you can give yourself another 10 points if you can guess the team it was against and the scoreline.
I reckon it was a league game against Fulham and they won 2-1.
It was a 0-0 draw to Wolves, but nice try.
What a boring start to his time at Chelsea.
Yes, hopefully with England it's going to be a lot better. But there you have it. There was a quiz and how we think Thomas Tuchel is going to line up his England squad in his very first squad selection. Let us know in the comments below what you think Tuchel will pick, what you will pick yourself, and we'll see you in the next one.